Hello, my name is Scott Fitzgerald. I work for Gadellnet Consulting Services in St. Louis, Missouri. I am the server infrastructure team lead where I manage 9 engineers. My responsibilities from day to day are to manage their tickets, to make sure that our key performance indicators are met, such as service level agreement, which means um, closing tickets on time based on the expectation of the customer, and making sure that we're not spending excess time on any one ticket where somebody is stuck. I also provide guidance, technical guidance to my team and to people outside the team. I want to talk to you a little bit about my career and how I got where I'm at. Um, for starters, when I was in middle school and high school, I was not very motivated to do anything. I didn't have a career path chosen. Most people have, I want to do this when I grew up, and I didn't have that. I actually, approaching the end of my junior year, I had not applied to a single college at that point. Um, I decided to join the Marine Corps because I knew that they would give me some money for college and also, provide a steady job for the 4 years I was in. It was a good experience. I spent 2 years in Japan, 2 years in Virginia, where I got out and got my first big kit job. While I was in the Marine Corps, my last job was driving for some VIPs on the base in Virginia, and doing some correspondence type stuff, basically, like kind of like a chauffeur slash secretary. Wasn't very fulfilling, but I didn't, like I said, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up, so I didn't really pick my job well when I went in the Marine Corps. My first job out of the Marine Corps was basically doing that same thing, but for CEO of a lobbying organization in Washington, D.C. Um, it was at this point that I really started to look at my career, and where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. The the Marine Corps and this other job right out of the Marine Corps both kind of fell in my lap. I didn't look for them. The recruiter called me because of my score on some standardized test, and then the colonel I worked for in the Marine Corps knew a recruiter for this company, and that's how I got that job. Low effort. It was just kind of, hey, I can do this job. It pays what I need to. I'm going to do it. However, I very quickly realized that like I could control how much, what kind of fulfillment I got out of the job, and I wasn't getting it here. I was cleaning up after people that would go into the supply room and, from what I could tell, just run their arms down the shelves and mess everything up, and then I'd get in trouble. So that was making me pretty miserable. So I decided to start going to school and get my degree. I actually originally thought I was going to go into accounting. I'm really good with numbers. I can do math in my head beyond most people, I think. So I thought that that would be a good career for me. Um, However, in my job at that lobbying organization, I worked very closely with the IT department, helping people set up Blackberries. Because of that, I was assumed to have been with IT. So I got asked a lot of questions, to which I then relayed to the IT team. They gave me the answers, and so I kind of started helping um, with some minor IT stuff that didn't require any sort of access. And it was something that I really enjoyed, making people so they could do their job. That's really what IT is about: is finding a way to quickly let somebody else do their job. And so I switched my majors to computer information system security. And shortly after I started that portion of my degree, I got my first IT job back in 2011, actually April 11th. So as of the time I was recording, 3 days away from my 9 year anniversary in IT. I came in with no experience in IT. Somebody asked me to ping a computer, and I didn't know how to do that. So this is going to kind of segue into talking about how I hire people. My boss here says tech is eminently teachable, values are not. If I'm interviewing somebody who has less experience but is very clearly motivated for self growth, self improvement, and just a very visible drive to be excellent, I will take that person over somebody with twice the experience who just doesn't seem like they care. It's just one of the things that I look for. So if there's two candidates and one is very obviously cares more than the other, I'm going to go with that candidate. Uh, that's kind of how I got my first job in IT. Because I didn't have any experience, I was able to say that, hey, I helped manage Blackberries and answered printer questions. That's really not much of an IT resume. But I came in, I was hungry, I was going to school for it, so my boss who hired me was very, very visibly happy with that decision. And I got my foot in the door, and then I kicked it wide open. I learned everything I could from everybody in the department, to the point where in 4 years I was managing a department of 6 people for this moving company in Virginia. So what I bring that up to tell you is that just because you don't have the experience doesn't mean you shouldn't apply for a job. You If you show up and you obviously care, you take the time to learn about the company, you show how you have improved yourself, or show how you have this drive and motivation, or how you align with this company's core values, that will get you hired just as often as your experience. So keep that in mind. Um, and be open and honest during the interview. Like, I don't know how to do that right now. It's something I'm trying to learn how to do, and it's something that I'm very passionate about. Something like that. Excuse me. So let's talk about that. Was landing a job. So I worked there for a total of 6 years, and then I ended up moving to St. Louis, where I got this job at Gadellnet. Again, I had some of the experience they were looking for, but ultimately I believe it was the drive that I displayed that got me this job. About a year and a half after I got here, I started as a system engineer, which would have been somebody I currently manage. After about a year and a half, I actually took over the team. Again, it's showing up, it's showing that self improvement, showing that motivation to do just a great job. Not an okay job, not a good job, a great job. So just keep that in mind as you look for these jobs, as you perform in your job. I will tell you that you want to find something whenever you're choosing your career. You want to find something you're good at and that you're passionate about, because no amount of money is going to make a miserable job okay. I was making much better money at the lobbying organization than I did my first IT job, but I was just absolutely miserable. I dreaded waking up to go to work. I was calling in sick a lot. Wasn't necessarily sick. I couldn't muster myself to get out of bed to go to work. Um, when I got in IT, that changed. I've never woken up and just dreaded going to work. I mean, if I know I have a problem, I'm a little cranky about it, but it's never been I just, oh man, I have to go to work. This is something I enjoy. So make sure you take that into consideration when choosing a career. Um, Talked about, keeping a job. Um, Take feedback. It's hard. First of all, it's very hard to give. That's something I have struggled with in the past when doing performance reviews with my organization, is giving negative feedback. If your boss takes the time to give that to you, they want you to improve. They want you to be better so you can stay there. So make sure you take that and listen and run with it. That will go so far in your career, is showing that desire to improve oneself. Let's see here. Get through my list. Um, so yeah, show up, be motivated, choose a career that you enjoy. Make sure you take into consideration what those hours might be, or what the travel might be, or some sort of other life changing considerations that are going to be involved with doing your day to day job. You don't necessarily need a degree. Make sure that you consider even some of the technical vocations, such as IT or plumbing or electrical work or um, welding, things like that. You may graduate with even less debt than you would in a better paying job. Those are all unionized and very good. Show up, be motivated, and just always strive to improve yourself.